welcome to this week's edition of the Side Splitters. My name is Lyle,
And I am, well, still Andy for the most part.
for the most part. And our goal tonight is to leave you in stitches. Man, do we have something to talk about right away.
Do we ever? I want to hold in all my excitement, but the pants are too tight. I need to speak on it.
Right? So, the important thing is here, to touch on real quick, is we are able to touch on this before Countdown to Geektown does. Even though this is totally their thing, we're going to steal it from them before they even get a chance, and it's funny to us. We are talking about none other than the trailer for The Punisher that just dropped today. If you haven't seen it yet, if you're a Marvel fan, if you're watching Netflix, whatever, if you're not, that's fine. You don't need to do any of that. Go watch it. Go to YouTube right now and type in The Punisher trailer and just watch it. It is phenomenal. Can't wait for this freaking show to come out.
Right? Because it's like, okay, so we have our dips into the violence in, I guess, the streetwise Marvel heroes, the Defenders, and, you know, you got your taste of it with, like, you know, Daredevil and Luke Cage and stuff like that, but, like, this is just full on, like,
oh, yeah.
This is white boy military grade Call of Duty shit that's going on in the streets of Marvel.
And I love how they freaking add Metallica's One to it.
Yeah, the sound effects were really well done to the timing of the music and everything.
Yeah. They they show them loading guns and the ammo noises are going to the guitars, and I'm just like, that is so freaking cool. You win, you got me, I'm sold. And then the shots fired are going to the drums, and I'm just like, oh god, they can't do any better. It is just so well done. Like, I was kind of like, when the Defenders trailer dropped, I was like, of all songs for them to pick, they have to pick a freaking Nirvana song. And I'm just like, alright, I get it, but it's terrible because it's Nirvana. But this, I can get down with some Metallica. Like, I'm alright with that. And just the fact that that song specifically is based on a book about a guy that loses all of his limbs in the military in the war and has to, like, use his tongue to, like, SOS message with what do they call that?
Morse code?
Morse code. Yeah, uses his tongue or something like that for Morse code, or just clicks with his mouth or something like that for Morse code to just send out a message of, because he couldn't talk. Maybe his tongue was, I don't know, something happened where he couldn't talk, and he was just doing something in Morse code to where he was literally begging them to kill him. Like, begging the nurses and the doctors to just end me. Just please end my life. I do not want to live. And that's the song they picked for this freaking... I can't wait.
I can't wait either. And, you know, it's only one minor thing I have to say about the guy that plays Frank Castle. I can never remember the actor's name, but I know he was in The Walking Dead.
It's Shane. That's the guy's name, Shane.
Right? Like, that's the first thing I think of. Is it's like, oh, it's Shane. But, like, do you think his head looks like a teapot?
What?
Like, there's something about the shape of it. Like, it's one of those, like, pitchers. Like, it is definitely longer than it is wide. And just, he has a very squared off, like, rectangular, angular face. Like, it looks like a teapot.
His name is John Bernthal.
Okay.
And I will say this much. He looks to me, like, even in The Walking Dead, when we first seen him in The Walking Dead, I looked at him and was just kind of like, this dude looks like a military guy. Like, not so much a cop guy, but a military guy. And I was just kind of like, you know,
yeah.
It makes sense why they casted him for a cop, because he totally looks like, you know, a military guy. But, you know, he was a cop. But either way, you know, he looks like someone that should be in the military, which to me is a good casting for the Punisher.
He looks like somebody who should be storing green tea.
Right, I was going to say, all of that being said, he does not look like a teapot, and I don't know what you're...
It's me. Come on.
Well,
Honestly, if you could fathom the way that I see the world for like 5 minutes, I think you would actually lose your sanity.
I don't think it's just me that would lose my sanity. If anything, I because I know you as well as I think I do, I'd like to think that 5 minutes is record pace for what other people would be able to, if we don't include Fresco into this, or any relatives for that matter. If we only
Oh,
include
yeah.
friends or anything like that, like, I think I would last the longest.
Fair.
At least I'd like to think that. But that's pretty much all we want to talk about with that. So are we ready to start the proverbial show here?
Oh, yeah, let's dive into this bitch.
Because we start with everyone's favorite segment, clickbait news. And boy, do I have some fun ones for. It was kind of a slow news week.
I was wondering, it's like, you started off so positive, and then just the sigh. The sigh is not very relieving for my conscience.
I want to say that it was a slow news week, but I also want to say that I handpicked the winners out of this, the news articles this week, and I'd like to think that I did a good job. I got a good Florida story. I got a good story relevant to the lore of the podcast, and I got a story that I absolutely could not pass up even if I wanted to.
A good grab bag. It's a nice mix.
Yeah. So the obvious thing that I'm going to leave for the last is the one that I couldn't pass up even if I wanted to, which leaves the Florida one and the one relevant to our podcast. So I think I'm going to start with the relevant one.
I was going to suggest that anyway, so you listen to me. Huzzah!
Can you tell me, knowing what you know now, what three women attempted to steal?
Three women together
Yeah.
attempted to steal.
Does it help if I say it was in Hawaii?
It actually does. Okay. So, in Hawaii, three women attempted to steal a surfboard in the shape of a penis.
No.
Oh, I was waiting for the yes.
No, they attempted to steal 18 cases of Spam.
Oh my god, I was going to say Spam!
I really thought you would get it because I told you that it has relevance to our podcast. It's in Hawaii. Like, how do you not guess Spam?
Oh, I thought it was going to be too obvious.
Iwa Beach, Hawaii, and Iwa Beach Long's drugstore came close to becoming the latest victim of theft after three women attempted to steal 18 cases of Spam. Kurt Favela watched it all unfold while shopping Wednesday night. When I was in the cereal aisle, in the corner of my eye, I saw a wagon full of Spam. That's when he went on Spam surveillance, stalking out the exit. I didn't say anything. I just stood by the door, and the person that was trying to steal the Spam just pushed the wagon and said, "Here." He said the suspected culprits were three women, and described the runner as having short black hair and a tattoo on half of her back. While the attempt to steal Spam may seem comical, theft is a major problem in Hawaii. According to retail merchants of Hawaii, it's something that's especially prominent with canned goods. Here's where it gets good. We're seeing it more and more, and there's a lot of volume being taken out of stores now. It's a combination of felony charges have gone from $300 up to $750. That doesn't make sense, but whatever. So now if you steal $750, it's a felony. So people are stealing right up to underneath of that, said President of Retail Merchants of Hawaii, Tina Yamaki. Yamaki says, unfortunately, it's turned into a black market commodity. Often the stolen items are resold at places like swap meets or even right out of the back of cars. So, in other words, and there's still more to this, but people are stealing Spam and selling it out of the trunk of their cars in Hawaii, which I thought was hysterical.
Yeah, because I don't get the obsession. I never will because I just hate Spam. I hate Spam so much.
Which is why I picked this one. I was just like, oh my god, we've talked about this so many times before. Last week was literally named after Spam, so yeah.
Yeah, it's just I don't get it, and that was the part that I always hated about Hawaii. That like it's a big delicacy out there. I'm like, I am not spending that much money to go on a Hawaiian vacation to eat Spam.
I mean,
Fuck that.
it's a big delicacy out there, but I think it's more of a delicacy to people that live there because it's cheap and, you know, they could do a lot of stuff with it because it's so friggin' expensive to live there.
Now, wait a minute. Hold on. This brings up an interesting point. So, it's a felony if they steal over $750, right?
Mm-hmm.
Are there prisons in Hawaii?
I'm sure there is.
I mean, there would have to be, right?
Right.
You could do worse.
Oh, yeah, certainly. I would say so. But then again, wait a minute. Now think about this. If someone's willing to commit crimes so severe that they go to prison, you know, they have to be pretty desperate if they're living in Hawaii. So what kind of, like, psychopathic people are getting arrested and doing prison time in Hawaii? You know, that's my train of thought.
No. This is my train of thought. Okay, I am down on my luck. I am down to whatever money I can scrape together. The first thing I'm going to do when I don't have to worry about room and board and everything like that is I'm going to spend money on a plane ticket. I'm going to go to Hawaii and commit an act that will land me in prison. There we go. I've got shelter. I've got 3 square meals a day. Probably 2 of them Spam, but it doesn't matter. Because I am in a prison in Hawaii. I get to stay on vacation in Hawaii.
I mean, you don't even have a son that you have to lie to and tell him that it's just vacation. Like, why are you gone at that?
That's a vacation.
Again, man, I still think that, you know, people that are there already are just like, those are some hardened criminals. Like, it's one thing to be, you know, locked up in New Jersey. Been there, done that. And it's just, you know, that's not the worst of the worst. But Hawaii, if you're arrested in Hawaii for a felony and you go to a state prison in Hawaii, there is going to be a lot of other people that were just like, you know, we are just that damn crazy that you don't want to mess with us. That's the way I see it.
There's going to be 7 guys like built like The Rock that are just going to rape you. Oh, and put a flower necklace around you first.
Right, of course, and like play a ukulele or something. Anyway,
yeah. Aloha, fish meat.
She explained there's a typical method. There's always someone who's trying to distract from the person who's stealing the things, so security will look at the fish meat. I don't know why that one has me so much. Security will look at the and person distracting, and then they'll go, this is horribly written. Like, I feel like this person didn't know English very well.
No, it's Hawaii.
Yeah. You'll notice in stores many items are now locked up because they are stolen so often. Other frequently stolen items include clothing, electronics, high-end liquor, and tobacco. The theft, well, yeah, that's any state. Hawaii is the only one that doesn't have Spam. It's really unfortunate for the people of Hawaii because the prices go up, and it's also unfortunate for the retailers as well. The women didn't end up stealing the Spam, but did escape with bags full of other product. Well, that's stupid.
Yeah, right? It's like, oh no, they've gotten away. We can't catch them now.
So that's that. Let's go to Florida, where we know things are going to get crazy.
I wonder, is it a part of the military uniform in Hawaii to wear a grass skirt?
Maybe not a grass skirt, but definitely the flower necklace.
Agreed.
Like their necklaces are just sewn together with bullet flower.
Badass.
Okay, so can you tell me what the 70-year-old did during a parking dispute in Florida?
Did during a parking dispute?
Mm-hmm. 70 years old.
Threw his teeth at somebody.
No, not quite that 70-year-old. This 70-year-old is a much different 70-year-old. 70-year-old slashed man with machete during parking dispute.
What?
Yeah, dude. This is a place called, and I'm not making this up, D-Land, D-E-L-A-N-D, Florida.
Wow.
And it's like D-E capital L-A-N-D. So it's like enunciating, this is D-Land. You know, funny. Anyway, A 70-year-old man slashed another man in the face with a machete Monday morning
In
during
the face.
That's what it says. With a machete Monday morning during a dispute over a parking space in Volusia County, police said. The attack was reported around 11:20 a.m., so this was in the morning, at the Bank of America in downtown DeLand.
Oh, at the Bank of America.
DeLand police said Arlen Hubbard and another man were arguing over the parking space when Hubbard took out a machete and sliced the man's face. The victim was taken to a hospital, police said. The extent of his injuries are not known. Police said Hubbard was arrested on a felony charge of battery, and that's pretty much it.
Well, I mean, first of all, the guy is stressed. All right, he's probably got one ungrateful wife guarding 27 kids back at the shoe, and he just really needed that parking spot. Like, I could slash somebody in the face.
That's him.
Oh,
Like the old guy, obviously not the two that look like they would slash someone in the face from Florida.
right,
This guy
right.
here. Right.
Yeah, because I was thinking Hubbard.
Oh my God! How did I not pick up on that? Like, I heard you going on about the several kids in a shoe and all that, and I'm just like, Andy being Andy. Didn't even pick up on it. I'm still stuck on fish meat. Okay.
Yeah, like, how does that even dispute, like, happen? Like, okay, I get it. He's got a parking spot. He's like, wait, that's my parking spot. It's like, no. It's like, oh, yeah, well, I'll show you. And he goes back and he gets a freaking machete. Like, how do you still have an argument at that point? Like, how do you not just get in your car and immediately leave?
You win, buddy. Well, he probably called his bluff. That's probably what happened.
Call his bluff.
Yeah, you're not going to do anything with that. You're 70 years old. Put the machete down. Oh, I'll show you who's 70 years old. And now you have half of a face.
And then he becomes a supervillain, and then he wants to turn the entire world into parking lots.
Story number 3. Can you tell me? Oh my God, I can go so many places with this.
Do what feels right.
All right. Andy, can you tell me why the woman was dubbed the Mad Pooper? Your move, fish meat.
I did ask for it. Because I guess she would get into public disputes with people and then go into retail stores, argue with the clerks, and then poop on the counter.
No. And it's great because I already have a title for this episode. It's going to be Fish Meat Gave Me the Runs. Because a jogger named... She got dubbed the Mad Pooper because she's wanted by police for defecating outside a specific family's home.
Wow.
Several times.
Is this a Bob's Burger reference?
Oh God, don't tell me it's fake. This was my favorite one. No, man, I read into this already. It's definitely real.
No. But like in Bob's Burgers, like they had a kid that was going around the school pooping in random places, and they dubbed him the Mad Pooper.
Oh. Well, that I don't know. It's just let me read the article here. Colorado family is trying to get a jogger they've dubbed the Mad Pooper. So maybe that Colorado family just likes Bob's Burgers, you know. They've dubbed the Mad Pooper from relieving herself in their neighborhood and outside of their house.
Tell me they caught it on video.
I think they actually did. Because there's a... Well, I think they caught it on video, but they didn't release the video. They only released a picture of her.
Oh, yeah, because that would be taken down from YouTube, like, immediately. It's people pooping.
Yeah.
So
anyway,
how bad would that be?
Kathy Budd, which I think is hysterical because it's from Colorado, told KKTV her kids caught the woman jogger mid-squat, pants down, and unashamed. They're like, there's a lady taking a poop. So I came outside and I'm like, are you serious? Budd said. are you really taking a poop right here in front of my kids? And she's just like, yeah, sorry.
Wow.
The family said the toilet-fearing runner defecates near their home about once a week and leaves behind the waste with paper towels. I put a sign on the wall that's like, please, I'm begging you, please stop. She ran by it like 15 times yesterday, and she still pooped. Public restrooms are...
No shits were given.
Actually. Actually... Public restrooms are close to the family's home, which is why Buds can't figure out what is making the woman continuously do her business by their house.
He doesn't even know her.
What's that?
I say he doesn't even know her.
Oh, this is two women. This is the mother.
Oh.
Yeah, it's Kathy Budd. I'm assuming it's a woman. Yeah. But anyway, no, they do not know her.
Okay.
The Colorado Springs Police Department is now involved, and it's a case that has Sergeant Jonathan Sharketti at a loss for words. I shit you not, his name is Sharketti.
I love that you use I shit you not.
Of course I did. It's abnormal. It's not something I've seen in my career, Sharketti told KKTV. For someone to repeatedly do such a thing, it's uncharted territory for me. Police told the Budds to take a photo of the woman so they could identify her. If caught, it's possible she could face indecent exposure and public defecation charges. The family is hoping now that photos of the jogger are public, it'll flush out her identity. Colorado Springs police are asking anyone with information of the identity of the mad pooper to contact them. So, can we please name this episode Fish Meat Gave Me the Runs?
We'll see if it's
She's a jogger.
You're so proud of that.
All right, but anyway, yeah, just straight up pops a squat in front of her kids and everything, and just poops. Doesn't even care, just poops.
That is so weird. Like, has no prior problem with the property owner. Is doing it while jogging. Like, how often do you have stuff on you to wipe? Like, I could never imagine pooping and then just raising my pants back up and be like, yeah, no, I'm done.
Well, it specifically says in the one line that she has paper towels and leaves them behind as well.
That is so gross.
Yeah. Yes, it is. And we're not going to get too far into details in this. Please don't look into this too far. But do you have any idea what human poop smells like when it's not in water?
No?
It's awful, Andy. Absolutely awful.
Take your word for it.
Thank you.
I will not look into it. I don't think I want to go down that rabbit hole. I'm sorry, latrine hole.
I like all the accompanying stories because, you know, what this one is about and what other stories are based off of. There's a headline here that says, man denies pooping his pants after being kicked out of casino. Georgia man confesses to fatally shooting neighbor over dog poop.
If you like this story, you'll love this story.
Yeah. Oh, you like poop? Check these out. Just straight up poops. I'm sorry, that is just too funny for me. Anyway, that does it for clickbait news there. So Andy had a talking point that he wanted to ask me about this week.
I did, because I was curious. So this came up within my family. Somebody had mentioned having something stolen from them at school, and it got me thinking. I'm like, I can remember having quite a few things stolen from me over the years at school, and in varying degrees of either sentimental value or just monetary value. But have you ever had anything stolen from you while you were at school?
I have had several things stolen from me while I was in school. One of the biggest things that I can remember definitely is a Game Boy Color in all of my games.
And all of the games?
Mm-hmm.
Holy shit.
Mm-hmm. So I was stupid enough to bring it to school, no matter how many times my aunt and uncle told me not to. Unbeknownst to them, I brought it to school. And here's where it gets interesting. I get it taken away, of course, from a teacher. Of course. And I had a carrying case thing for it, right? So all my games are in the carrying case. So the entire Game Boy and all the games are all taken away, of course, like I said.
Of course.
I am then told that if I want it back again, I'm going to have my aunt and uncle come in to get it. And I'm just like, no. No, I can't have that happen. So what ended up happening was it was like some weird, freakishly string of events that ended up happening from here on out, because they came in during school hours and they didn't get a chance to meet with the principal who had it or something like that. So for whatever reason, they would not let them take it home and instead gave it to me at the end of the day and told me, like, I'm going to receive it at the end of the day and take it home myself. So they put it all in a manila envelope and everything like that. I was like, all right, I guess that's mine. And the teacher told me, like, you know what this is? You'll get it back at the end of the day. So I'm like, all right. So fast forward to the end of the day, I get it back. I'm so excited. I take it home. I'm on the bus ride home. Here's where the story gets even weirder. Something is going on with our bus. So it's like not working properly.
Okay.
The windshield wipers were just not working, and it was raining outside. So I don't know if like the blades were bad or what, but it was just I don't know if they just stopped working altogether or if they just weren't working good enough. So we had to park on the side, on a little side road, and call dispatch. Like the bus driver had to call dispatch and get another bus sent to us. So we had to sit there and wait for that other bus to come. But meanwhile, I'm like, cool, I'm playing Game Boy.
Yeah, right. That's exactly what I would do.
So I'm all excited about it, whatever. And, when the other bus comes, it's like, oh, well, time to switch over to the other bus. So, like, I pack up all my stuff back into my book bag. Didn't even bother closing my book bag because my book bag is not closing properly because the zippers broke on it. So just kind of picked up everything and was on my way. When we get to the other bus, everyone kind of settles in and whatever, and, the bus driver has to rally us all, the magic of the bus driver. And once we're all, settled in and rally, whatever, and we're like, okay, we're good to go. We leave. As if that's not weird enough. We all get slightly distracted by this weird car that is straight up following every single move that the bus does. And to further be certain of this, because, all the kids are now telling the bus driver, there's someone following us. And the bus driver's just like, nah, that's not happening. Relax. You guys are just being weird. Well, it gets to the point where it's like, okay, there's a good possibility this person's following us. So, the way that they found out was there's literally this one part in the bus driver's route where she had to make a U-turn. And she was like, this is how we're going to find out right here if he's following us or not. Because if he is, and I make this U-turn, he'll make a U-turn with us, and I'm calling the cops immediately. She makes a U-turn, he slams on his brakes, and starts to make the U-turn, and then I guess then it dawns on him, holy shit, they're going to call the cops on me, let me get the hell out of here. And started making the U-turn, the bus driver stopped and is looking over at the person as she has like the walkie-talkie thing in her hand and is talking into it, sees the guy, and the guy just turns around and just gets out of there as quickly as possible. So now we have to wait for the police to get there to file the report.
Weird.
Right. In the midst of all this happening, I forget I have a Game Boy in my book bag with the zipper open still. I get home, and the first thing my uncle's telling me is like, let's give it up, give me the Game Boy, because you're grounded, so this is going in my room for quite some time until I say otherwise, because I was in trouble for bringing my Game Boy to school. I tore my entire book bag apart. It was nowhere to be found. Not the Game Boy, not the games, all of them were still in the manila envelope. So we take a ride to every bus stop and check all. I told him what happened, and we checked all the different places that, we changed buses at, the place where we made the U-turn at, everything. And it was just hoping, praying that maybe it fell out of my book bag, and it was nowhere to be found. So, sure enough, someone stole it.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was really elaborate. So, I'm thinking that somebody on the bus had like a partner in the car that was following you guys, and I think it was hilarious that you're like no, they're not convinced that you're following yet. Like the only way they're going to call the cops is if you follow. So, you know, yeah, you have to follow. It's like oh shit, and then on the walkie-talkie they're like oh we got it, prize is ours, get out of here. Oh shit.
Yeah, it was definitely nuts. I was torn up about it, and it was like right after I just got my Game Boy Color. I had Pokemon Gold, I had Pokemon Silver, I had Pokemon Red and Blue. I got Killer Instinct, I got Casper. Don't judge me. I got all kind of games.
I can't judge, man. I had the Pokemon games. I had Dragon Quest, I think 2, and Mega Man X Zero. God, what else?
Oh,
did I
those
have
are Game Boy Advance games, though. I'm talking the original Game Boy.
No, those were original Game Boys.
X-Zero was a Game Boy game?
Yeah, it was when the X series like first came out.
I think I'm thinking of Mega Man Zero.
Yeah,
there was a Zero series. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, so that's my.
Yeah.
So what did you have stolen?
Man, okay, so I had a couple things stolen. A lot of them were collectibles based, but okay, I don't know if people realize this or not, and I'm pretty sure that time doesn't change enough to make this statement inaccurate. Parents, if you have kids, they're in gambling rings. You don't know about it, but they are. I can guarantee that. Because when I was a kid going through school, man, nothing was hotter than the Pog scene. Nothing.
I can think of one, but go ahead.
Oh, hang on. So, all right. Let me take you back.
Okay.
So, this is the height of popularity where you have paper discs with designs on the top of them that could be anything. They could be pop culture references. They could be weird tribal tattoo designs that you just haven't got on, put on your ass yet. You have like stupid little shit like 8 balls or like diamonds or whatever, and then you got your slammers. Now your slammers are indented. They're thick plastic. They look like they snapped off the back of a stiletto heel. You got your metal ones that are in the shape of buzzsaws that you swear to God, if they were filed right, they could be deadly weapons. But some of them had a really cool hologram in the middle of it that was like a skull that was like plain looking at you and then laughing if you turn it right. Oh, it was great. I had a pretty decent collection of Pogs because there was a baseball card shop in town in Newfield where I lived that was within bike riding distance, and they sold them for like super cheap, like dirt cheap, and Mom didn't care if I had a couple dollars to go down there and go pick them up. Hell, I'd find a couple dollars just laying in the couch in the van. Don't judge me. I'd buy these like packs and get a bunch of cool shit, and I had like my little plastic carrying case and everything like that. I was all into this shit, and you would go to school and you knew who the Pog players were because everybody had those little cases. Teachers didn't care as long as we did our homework and did our tests. Who cares what we did on our free time? So between classes and at recess and wherever the hell else, if we stayed indoors for gym, and they were like, we have a substitute. It's like, we have a substitute? The entire period was spent gambling with Pogs. The entire thing. So, you'd put something out there. Be like, hey, Vinny, tell you what, I'll wager my Magic 8-Ball Pog and my Serpent going through a Skull Pog and, my Shark with sunglasses.
May I interrupt for 2 seconds?
Sure.
Was this Newfield or New York? Because suddenly you're from the Bronx.
Well, yeah, because that's how all gambling rings start.
Oh, okay. Continue.
So, I got all that, and I'm eyeing your fairy in a thong and bikini because, I'm freaking 7 years old. I want a fairy in a bikini. Fuck you. And yeah, the flowers that if you back up a little bit, it kind of looks like a puddle of puke. I want that.
Okay.
They're like, all right, so you stack the pogs and you hit him with slammers. Now, okay, Vinny boy was not exactly on the up and up. You know, he would take that slammer, and there's a rule to how you can throw this thing, and he was breaking them rules, and I didn't appreciate it. The same thing with once you get down to the last pog, you got to kind of put it on the edge and flip it over, and he would be like, you know, using his nails and shit. You can't do that shit. It's just a slammer, man. I don't care if you got the long ass fingernails your mom won't cut for you. You're too sissy to bite them because you're worried about getting germs in your mouth. Fuck you, Vinny. This happened all the time. Any chance we got, and it wasn't just that. Like I got my case stolen from me. So the one time I actually go out for recess because I was big into the wall ball scene too. You don't even know. But I was coming off of a hot game, and like I needed to make another appearance, so I went outside for recess. By the time I come back in, pogs are gone. The whole case just gone.
Mm-hmm.
And you weren't supposed to have them in there anyway, and the teacher knew you had them, but if you complained about it, she's like, well, that's what you get, because she didn't understand. To her, they were fucking paper.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, they were a livelihood.
Mm-hmm.
And fucking Vinny, I knew it was him. And you know how I knew it was him? Because he was playing with freaking, you know, sissy boy Dominique over there, and, you know, when he was playing and making wagers, what was one of the pogs he wagered? Fucking shark in his sunglasses. Oh, where'd you get the pog with the shark in the sunglasses, Vinny? Because it wasn't like a dime a dozen thing. It's not like everybody had a fucking Charizard card. No. Shark with sunglasses was my fucking pog.
So I want to ask, but don't answer now. Answer later. Well, you can answer this now. Is Vinny the guy's real first name?
No.
Okay. All right. Never mind then. Because I'm like, I knew a Vinny from Newfield. Anyway,
No, but
I was just going to say that, you know, Pokemon cards were, I think, a little bit more hotter than Pogs.
At the time, yeah. So they went in phases, and you never really realize how quickly they go. Because to you, it feels like it's like 5 years, but in actuality, it's probably like a solid year.
Yeah.
Of, you know, a craze being on the up and up, you know? Because, like, I also had Marvel Comics, like, trading cards.
Oh,
and not a lot of them were mine either. They were my older brother's, because he had a huge collection of them, and I thought they were really neat. And I got, like, the coolest ones that I kept in a binder, and I would show off to people, like, you know, oh, hey, what's going on with your guys' lives? You know, oh, yeah, that's cool. You know, it sounds all boring and everything, because look at what I got. And I would be like, you know, oh, these are great, like, really fantastic artwork on some of these cards.
Mm-hmm.
And all the neat little facts in the back, like, you know, oh yeah, I don't know if you guys know this, but Cable is Cyclops' kid from the future. And I got that shit stolen out of my desk.
My favorite was when, okay, so I don't know about you, but when I was going to middle school to Palo, which is where I got my Game Boy stolen from, that's when Pokemon cards were all the rage, and they were pretty much banned in schools. Like you weren't supposed to have them. If you did have them and teachers caught you, they would take them away. And you knew this, but you brought them to school anyway because you had to show them off. Because no one battled. No one actually played the game. They just collected. Well, sure, there are people that played the game, but no one that was popular played the game. So
Oh.
I wanted to be popular, so I didn't play. Actually, if you played the game in those first couple months, you were just like a god amongst men. Like, what? You actually know what you're doing with these? Oh, please teach us, wise one.
Won my first ever tournament.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I played it at Jester's Playhouse. I played my first ever Pokemon tournament when the game came out, and I made a firefighting deck and took first place.
Nice. But yeah, the thing that always got me was when I don't know if this ever happened to you, but a kid would see that I had Pokemon cards and would just go, I need some Pokemon cards. Okay, well, the store sells them. Yeah, but I want some of yours. Well, you're not getting them. All right, well, either you give me your Pokemon cards or I'm telling the teacher you have them, and she'll take your Pokemon cards. I'm like, you. bastard. Luckily, the one time that happened that I learned from it, because I've never shown that guy or anyone that I had Pokemon cards again, he didn't know much about it. He was just trying to get into the phase and, was trying to bully his way into it with not being violent, but instead being a little rat. So I was just like, oh yeah, this is a really good card. You're definitely going to want this. And, oh, this is a good one too. Here, take this. And it was just like commons and uncommons,
Yeah.
Nothing really good. But that's that. So had plenty of things stolen, like I said. I could probably talk about this subject for a while.
Oh yeah, I still got a few things that were stolen from me that have little stories behind them too. But and one of them is in a locker room, and I was mostly naked.
Neat.
Yeah. So sorry, ladies, but you're gonna have to hear about that one later.
Yeah, because we got something else to talk about.
Yeah, we do.
I wish we had a song for this segment, but we don't.
My complete and utter annihilation of my competition.
Yeah, let's start with that. So, obviously, for those who don't know, me and Andy are in a fantasy football league. Hey, it's the football segment. Me and Andy are in a fantasy football league with the guys from Countdown to Geektown and a few other people that they're familiar with and all that. Guys from Nerdy Harry, all that stuff. So, we all know football. Me, Eric, Jesse, all those guys. They know football. They've done this for a couple years now. I have done my own fantasy drafts for a couple years now. Aside from knowing football, we all know fantasy football as well. Now we take Andy, who his only experience with football is literally picking the teams that would win last year on this podcast, so you all know how that went. And that's it. No experience with fantasy, no experience with football. As a matter of fact, so little experience with fantasy football that when he went to go draft his team, he said, this is fantasy, how come I can't have Spider-Man? And instead drafted a D. Parker because his last name was Parker. Now, this was all explained last week. So if you need to know further details, go listen to that one. If you don't, however, listen to this dumb shit. Andy is not only 2-0, but he's also in first place amongst the entire league for just being 2-0 and having the most scored points amongst the 2-0 people. Now, who did he beat, you might ask? Well, the first week, I don't remember. But the second week, last week, he beat the person that would be in first place because he definitely has the most points scored in the entire league. But the reason he's not is because he's now 1-1 because Andy beat him. That person is none other than Jesse from Countdown to Geektown. And I can't wait, and hopefully he listens to this because I can't wait to see what he says about this because, damn.
Yeah, right? Oh.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I didn't even know Dan Marino wasn't playing anymore. Ah.
He's got to be mad. Oh, he has to be so bad. As a matter of fact, we're gonna tell him this message here. I was talking to Eric. Me and Eric were talking, and at one point, Eric messaged me and said, "You and Andy have the highest scoring teams in fantasy football this week." And I said, "I know. I've been amazed with how much Andy's team is scoring today. Gotta love K. Hunt." And then he goes, "Jesse was pissed." And I said, I was wondering how he felt about it. I can't feel good. It can't feel good knowing who you're losing to. And Eric goes, LOL, I told him he was going to lose to the retarded fantasy Nostradamus.
That's my favorite part.
Oh, God. And damn it if he wasn't right. Just, oh, God. How do you do it? Teach us your ways, O wise one.
Man, there is not enough time in the day for that.
Well, good news. We have time to go over the winnings and predictions of next week's games.
Fantastic.
So we can figure it out through that. So let's first go over the winnings from last week. It was just me and Andy last week. If anyone is interested in joining our little football pool thing here, feel free to message us on Facebook. And that's pretty much it. Yeah, just feel free to say, hey, I want to join, and give me a list of your teams for the next week to follow. This way, we can add it into the following podcast. And that's it. So without further ado, let's get into it. So the first game we have is the Bengals and the Texans. I picked the Bengals, Andy picked the Texans. The Texans won. We're going to do this way. To save on time here, we'll just do it this way. So, okay, next game, I don't know who they were playing against, but we both picked the Bills, and the Bills lost. Next game, we both picked the Buccaneers. Buccaneers won. So far, Andy's still ahead, by one. Next game, I went with the Steelers. Andy went with the Vikings. Steelers won. Next game, I went with the Cardinals. Andy went with the Colts. Cardinals won. Next game, both went with the Patriots. Patriots won. Next, both went with the Ravens. Ravens won. Next game, I went with the Chiefs. Andy went with the Eagles. Chiefs won.
Wow.
The next was I went with the Jaguars. Andy went with the Titans. Titans won. Yay, Andy won one. Both went with the Dolphins. Dolphins won. I went with the Broncos. Andy went with the Cowboys. Broncos destroyed the Cowboys. I went with the Raiders. Andy went with the Jets. Raiders won. Both went with the Seahawks. Seahawks won. I went with the Falcons. Andy went with the Packers. Falcons won. I went with the Rams. Andy went with the Redskins. Redskins won. And then we both went with the Giants, and the Giants lost. Bringing us to a total of Andy getting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 wins out of a possible 16. So he's 8-8. And me going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 wins.
Yeah, look at you.
5. Yeah, look at me. Look at me. I'm finally doing what I'm supposed to be doing in this damn podcast.
How does it? It feels weird that the status quo actually seems abnormal.
You know what's better about it? Like, so Giants had the Monday night game, so that was the last game to watch for the week. And leading up to that, all day Sunday, I am just loving every minute because you are kicking ass at fantasy. I am kicking ass at fantasy, and I'm like, this is great. I can't wait to see the results of this day. And it got to a point where me and Andy were so high scoring that I'm just like, I wonder which one of us is going to win between the two of us. Almost as if we were going against each other. Well, by the end of Sunday night, you were ahead of me just by a little bit. You had nobody left to play, and I still had like 3 players in the Monday night game to play. And I'm like, oh, I got this all day. That being said, I still only beat you like by 3 points because Monday night was just atrocious. But what I'm getting at here is I knew I already won my game going into Monday night. I knew I was doing well Monday night. I knew I was beating you Monday night. I seen all the wins that I had of our picks from the two of us, and I was just like, oh my god, nothing could be better right now football-wise. Like, I am just doing everything right. And then the Giants get freaking embarrassed. And it sucked, but, it's whatever. So that's that. So without further ado, let's move into the games for next week. Week 3. So,
Who do you got?
We'll start with the Thursday night game, which is the Rams and the 49ers. It's the Rams at the 49ers, and if my internet would stop being a dummy right now, I can actually see the rest of the game. But kill us with time here while we're loading that. Who do you got between the Rams and the 49ers? I am taking the Rams.
Rams against 49ers. So, Rams are usually pretty keen about going over, like, mountainous terrain, which the 49ers will have to inhabit if they're going to actually go for their livelihood, mining for gold and what have you. So I think the Rams may actually have the home field advantage because, well, not the home field advantage per se because they're visiting the 49ers, but they'll be able to overcome and outmaneuver the 49ers even in their own territory. So I actually have to agree with you on the Rams.
Okay, the Rams. Next up, we have the Baltimore Ravens at the Jacksonville Jaguars. And I believe they're playing in London.
Playing in London?
Yeah, it's something they do every year. They play a couple games in London. Just random teams will play in London. London loves NFL. I don't. It's just been a surgence over there, and yeah. So Ravens at the Jaguars in London, even though it's at the Jaguars, it's still in London. I'm taking the Ravens. Who do you got?
Well, considering that, I don't think the Jaguars would be able to handle much of the English environment. I don't think it would suit them very well. Meanwhile, Ravens probably go there during the winter. Hell, we don't know. It's just how birds do. Plus, I think ravens are kind of universal all over the place. Like as long as there's something death and dreary, there's always a raven there. So I think with their worldliness is what's going to give them the advantage in this away game. So I'm going to say the Ravens.
The Ravens. Okay. Next up, we have the Denver Broncos at the Buffalo Bills. I am taking the Broncos. Who do you got?
Broncos versus the Bills. So, while the Bills are pretty notorious for all their gustomancing, if they try to pull that shit on the Broncos, you're just gonna have a wind tunnel full of angry horses. Which once they finally make it to the top, where old Bill is saddled, they're just gonna freaking knock him off. I don't think there's an easy way for the Bills to come out of this. I'm going to say the Broncos.
Broncos. Next up, we have the Pittsburgh Steelers at the Chicago Bears. Who do you got? I'm taking the Steelers. Sorry.
Steelers at the Bears. No, it seems like that's exactly what they're supposed to be doing. So, yeah, I don't see the Bears getting a good season out of this. I mean, it's hibernation time. Like it's the winter. If they win one game, I'll eat my hat. Meanwhile, the Steelers are supposed to go in and take stuff. I mean, the Bears are hibernating for the winter. Nobody's watching their shit. It's not like they have the Sloman Shield sitting outside their cave in Jellystone Park. I'm going to say it's the Steelers.
Steelers. Okay, next up we have the New Orleans Saints at the Carolina Panthers. I'm taking the Saints.
I'm going to have to this is where I'm going to have to disagree with you. So
finally.
Yeah, no, sorry. You cannot go with your saintliness into a den of panthers and expect to come out unscathed with all your robes intact. It's just not going to happen. You cannot preach the word to a bunch of giant predatory felines. They are going to rip you apart piece by piece. I don't care what deity is on your side. That is not going to end well for you. I'm going to say the Panthers.
All right. This one I can't wait to hear a response on. So next up we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the Minnesota Vikings. I am taking the Buccaneers. Who do you have?
Buccaneers are going against the Vikings. Ooh.
Yeah. What do you got?
Oh, man. Oh, this is awesome. Okay, so if Vikings are used to being the pillagers, not the pillagees, but, I mean, if any other team could pull it off, it would probably be the Buccaneers because that's their bread and butter. Like, they're on the high seas, yo-ho-ho, bottle of rum kind of thing. And their ships are not as... Well, I mean, I guess their ships are better built, and they have ballistics on it versus, the Vikings, we got shields on the sides. What the hell does that protect against? You row everywhere. Like, that's terrible. Yeah, I think just out of sheer manpower and just wiliness, yeah, I'm going to say the Buccaneers on this one.
Okay, Buccaneers. Next up, we have quite possibly the two worst teams in the NFL. The Cleveland Browns at the Indianapolis Colts. I am taking the Browns.
Browns, really?
Yep.
Yep. All right, well, here's the thing. Even if you go by the old standby that the Browns are supposed to represent the Fey folk, Colts are always like the embodiment of spirited animals, right? Like, there's nothing that is more free-spirited nature than the image of Colts prancing around in the fields as they do. I mean, hell, that even happened in a movie like 28 Days Later, like a zombie apocalypse in the middle of England. Like, they're like, oh, look at those Colts. Aren't they free-spirited? They don't even care about zombies. You're right. And if they don't care about zombies, they're not going to care about some fucking Browns. So I'm going to say the Colts.
Colts. Well said. Next up, we have... Oh, can't wait for this one. The Miami Dolphins at the New York Jets. I am taking the Dolphins.
See, this is where I don't... Okay, so Jets, if they're going to visit the Jets, I mean, there are aircraft carriers. The Dolphins could do that, but Dolphins also do sonar. So I think that if the Jets were to battle, they're not going to be able to like do it on their own power. They can't really target in thick water. So they may have to actually rely on the carriers for this, in which case they use torpedoes that use pinging off of sonar. So Dolphins can kind of trick them, have them torpedo each other. They sink the boats. Jets go down. Um, yeah, I actually would have to say the Dolphins on this one.
I love the one-time Fresco. You do realize these are people, right? Next up, we have the Houston Texans at the New England Patriots. I am taking the Patriots.
Mm, I think the Patriots are going to win the morality game. I don't know. Because here's the problem. There's been Texans versus Patriots in our history for a very long time now. Texans are very proud. They're very independent. They're very much to point out that, hey, we may be a part of your union, but we're still Texans. Damn it! Like Texans will always be different, and I kind of have to agree that mentality is always going to be there. So where I think that all right, we're gonna have to settle with Texas being a state. I think they're gonna have the moral victory and be independent. So I'm gonna say the Texans.
Texans. Okay. Next up, we have the Atlanta Falcons at the Detroit Lions. I'm taking the Falcons.
Nah, I think that if the Falcons are birds of prey, but they're mostly dealing with like rodents and other smaller birds. Like I think if they're gonna pick a fight with a lion, they're gonna grossly underestimate their abilities to actually pull off this particular caper. Ain't no Falcon. I don't care how determined he is going to carry off a lion. So I'm going to say the Lions.
Lions. Okay. Next up, we have the New York Giants at the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm obviously taking the Giants for many reasons. No matter how much I think they're going to lose, I'm still taking the Giants. Who do you have?
Yeah, see, I thought the Eagles were going to beat the Chiefs, but uh, apparently I was wrong on that one. So that tells me that these are very stubborn birds, and who knows, they may have actually lost their commune with nature. They've decided to go the route of mankind and say, like, fuck nature, we'll make our own destiny. So if you have Eagles that are self-aware of their own manifest destiny, that's a very dangerous opponent. I don't care how large they are, they'll actually try to go for like the jugular vein and shit. And you have a swarm of Eagles, that's bad. I'm going to go with the Eagles on this one.
So a swarm of Eagles will be a swarm of Giants.
Yeah.
And because they lost last week, that makes them more stronger this week.
No.
Next up, we have the Seahawks at the Titans. I am taking the Titans. Who do you have?
Seahawks at the Titans?
Yes.
Okay, now see, this is where the size difference makes a huge thing here, because Eagles versus Giants is one thing, but if you're talking about a Hawk versus a Titan, no, that's worse than a gnat. Like the Titans probably swallow 8 Falcons in their sleep without even realizing it every night. So I don't think that the Seahawks are going to do anything. Sorry, Hawks, not Falcons. I don't think the Hawks are going to do anything to the Titans. I'm going to say the Titans are going to win that game.
Titans. Okay. Next up, we have the Kansas City Chiefs at the Los Angeles Chargers. I am taking the Chiefs.
Okay, so the Chiefs are visiting the Chargers. Chargers are more of an offensive team. I don't know how well they can do on the defense. And the Chiefs have proved to be pretty resilient so far this year, as far as coming into people's territory and be like, "What? We got your number." Like, okay.
We also have K Hunt.
Well, yeah. I mean, who's earning his headdress? Let me tell you. So, I honestly think that the Chiefs are going to win that one too.
Chiefs. Next up, we have the Cincinnati Bengals at the Green Bay Packers. I am taking the Packers.
Yeah, I've seen a furry convention. Usually, this doesn't end up very well for the Packers. I don't know. I think that the Packers are going to try to do their thing, and it's going to end up getting on the bad side of some Bengal Tigers here. And while American-bred Bengals are not exactly the most fearsome thing compared to what you can find in the wild, you still put baby in a corner and it's going to claw its way out. I'm going to say the Bengals.
Bengals. Next up, we have the Oakland Raiders at the Washington Redskins. I am taking the Raiders.
Raiders versus Redskins. I don't know, man. Like, while the Raiders, that offense is their bread and butter, like they can, that's what they're supposed to do is go into an area and raid the shit out of it, getting supplies and whatnot, and they're pretty experienced doing it. But never underestimate, a camp of Redskins. Like that's not something you easily go into. Like those guys will flip a switch on you, bury a tomahawk in your ass. I'm gonna say the Redskins on that.
Redskins. I also want to point out that the Oakland Raiders are my pick for the Super Bowl this year.
Really?
I'm saying it right now. Week 3. I am saying the Raiders are winning it all this year. And I am saying, even though it's too early to tell in my eyes, on the other side of things, their opponents will be the Atlanta Falcons.
Huh.
But that's not a concrete thing, because the Falcons could easily slip up, but I just don't see anyone else on that side of things being able to take care of business like the Falcons do. We shall see. Finally, last but probably not least, the Dallas Cowboys at the Arizona Cardinals. I am taking the Cardinals. Who do you got?
Yeah, as much as I hate to give it to the Cowboys, I mean, I would imagine that, okay, first of all, the Cardinals are on their way out anyway. It is the winter season. They're supposed to be flying to London or something. Like Cowboys will wrestle Bob.
Sir, the Rams and the 49ers are flying to London. Go on. No. Ravens and Jaguars. Sorry.
Yeah. So Cowboys, they make a reputation out of wrestling cougars and jaguars and skinning bears and taming wild broncos and stuff like that. I really don't think that if they're going to be pussy enough to be beat by a bunch of Cardinals, then those are the wrong kind of Cowboys. So I'm going to say the Cowboys are going to win that game.
Okay, Cowboys it is, and that will conclude that up. Let's see who takes this one home. I got to say, I'm feeling pretty confident about my list. Just like I was last week. Well, we'll see what happens. Who knows?
Who knows?
So all that's left now is just name this bad boy, and we'll wrap it up from here.
Which, honestly, I was trying to, and I could not come up with a better name than what you had.
I have one that's kind of neat. Running on Empty.
Running on Empty?
Yeah.
Empty. No, I'm not saying where you're getting the empty thing from.
Because she relieves herself.
Oh, okay. I got you. All right.
And also because I don't remember what I said. You tell me you can't come up with something better than what I said. And then you try to tell me something otherwise once I tell you I don't remember what it was.
Yeah.
You're the worst kind of person, Andy.
Kinda.
Yeah.
I mean, I've never pretended to be otherwise. No, I got nothing.
Running on fish meat.
Fish meat gave me the runs.
That's it. How about the fish meat runs?
The fish meat runs?
Yeah.
It actually works on a couple levels.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, fish meat runs.
That'll do it for this week's edition of The Side Splitters, episode number 52, The Fish Meat Runs. My name is Lyle.
And I am the fish meat Andy.
We will see you next week, folks.
Bye!